Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ted Rollins. Great to be with you on this Wednesday. We're tracking several major trials across the country, as we always do. Of course, in Plymouth, Massachusetts, testimony has resumed in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial. Dr. Paul Zeisel currently under cross-examination after he told jurors that, in his opinion, Lindsay Clancy was bipolar and experiencing postpartum psychosis when she killed her children. Back to the courtroom in just a moment. In Florida, it's day 3 of the state's case against Mario Fernandez Saldana. He is facing a murder for hire charge in the shooting death of Jared Bridegan, a Microsoft executive who was the ex-husband of Fernandez's wife. We're keeping an eye on that, and we'll have updates throughout the day. And the Tupac murder trial resumes next hour in Las Vegas. It's day 3 of the state's case against Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. He's accused of masterminding the shooting of the rap icon in 1996. We'll be dipping into that trial later today as well. But we begin in Massachusetts, where the Lindsay Clancy murder trial continues. The 36-year-old former labor and delivery nurse is accused of killing her 3 children. She admits to doing it. She used exercise bands to kill her kids on January 24th of 2023. 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan were found by their father Patrick in the basement of the family home. Lindsay attempted suicide. Now she is confined to a wheelchair. The defense claims that Lindsay was in the throes of a postpartum psychotic episode when she killed her kids. And that is exactly what Dr. Paul Zeisel just told the jurors at the end of his direct examination.
My opinion is that she did have indeed a mental disease or a defect. That's a legal construct, not a DSM-5 one, but she had bipolar disorder with postpartum psychoses. In addition, she was unable to conform her behaviors to the rule of law, and she had no appreciation for the wrongfulness of her act.
Let's go back into the courtroom now, pick up the cross-examination of Dr. Zeisel from the prosecution.
I don't know if I knew at that time, but I knew she had been speaking with the doctors and staff.
Well,
but not specifically who it was.
A person who goes through major trauma and is at a hospital and has made suicidal attempts, in your opinion, it would behoove the hospital to have that person talk to a psychiatrist, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Overruled. Yes.
Now, in addition to meeting with the staff and the psychiatry team, prior to your arrival, were you aware that she had an attorney that had came to visit her a few times? Not Mr. Reddington, but a different attorney.
Yes, I don't know how many times, but I am aware that there was an attorney, Gelb, who was somehow involved in the case.
Okay, so there was somebody that came in to see her prior to you coming in to see her?
Yes.
Now, you testified yesterday that you performed a mental status exam that day on February 4th. Do you recall that?
I do.
Where in your report or the previous report from July or your June report do you outline the results of your mental status exam?
There is none, because if someone's not capable of just explaining who they are, where they are, and if they're clear of mentation and thinking, then I'll meet with them. But if they're not, I won't. So it's a sine qua non. You do that just to make sure you can keep meeting with them and that they are able to understand what you're talking about. Standard practice.
But you indicated yesterday that she did know who she was, right?
Yes.
She didn't know where she was.
Yes.
But I believe your testimony was that she did remember what happened, but she was foggy as to what happened.
Yes, that's correct.
And she actually, according to your testimony yesterday, asked you for your phone or to access your phone to make a phone call. Is that correct?
Yes.
So she was able to communicate with you.
Yes.
She asked you for something and you clearly understood what she was asking for.
Yes.
And you indicated that she asked to call her husband, right?
Yes.
Had you spoken with her husband before that time?
I did not speak with him at that time. I didn't know him, and I had not spoken to him prior to that time.
So how'd you get the phone number to call him?
I did not have the phone number to call.
So she provided you with a phone number to dial so that she could call him on speakerphone, right?
Yes.
And she remembered the number?
Yes.
And so you indicated on that day, on February 4th, that she left a voicemail, right?
Yes.
So in that voicemail message, were you able to identify that it was Patrick Clancy's phone? Did it say, hey, this is Pat, leave a message, or something to that effect?
I don't remember the salutation from the voice recording, but there was no evidence that it was not Patrick Clancy.
And as far as her confidence in the number, she gave it to you with no issue, did she not?
That's correct.
She didn't have her own cell phone to refer to, did she?
That's correct.
Or a pad of paper where all the numbers were written down?
She didn't.
You indicated that she left a message. Do you recall what the message was?
She expressed a love for him, wanted to know how he was doing, and that was pretty much it.
And again, you said that you didn't write down what the mental status exam was, but the fact that she was able to relay that message, was it clear and coherent, what she was saying?
Yes, mental status exams are multiple levels. Different things are asked. If you don't know where you are, it doesn't mean you can't have a conversation with someone.
And she was able to have a conversation with you that day?
Yes.
Now, you said you went back on February 6th and met with her again, correct?
Yes.
And you guys made another attempt at calling Patrick?
Yes.
Again, did you remember the number?
No.
Did you have it stored in your phone?
No.
Did she provide you his phone number to call?
Well, it was in my phone. I could just look it up in my phone. I didn't write it down. I didn't enter his name. Either she gave it to me again, or I just looked it up from 2 days prior.
But you don't recall, as you sit here today, which it was, do you?
No.
And you didn't write a report about that interaction, did you?
I did not.
So in the second phone call, you were able to actually hear that she was talking with Patrick on the other end, right?
Yes.
And at that time, when you were now second time meeting with her and having this phone call, were you aware that she had already changed her healthcare proxy from Patrick to her parents?
I did not know that.
Did you talk to Patrick in between the 4th and the 6th to find out if he had tried to come in to visit her?
I didn't speak to him at all, so I knew nothing about what his plans or intentions were.
Your testimony yesterday was that she had called him to tell him that she loved him and to see where they were at, right?
Yes.
That was your testimony? Meaning what, their relationship?
That I made no interpretation of what that meant. She left the message, and we left it at that.
But in that subsequent conversation that you were a witness to where they were speaking on the phone and she told them about these voices or explained about the voices, did she ask about the kids?
She did not, as I recall.
Now, in all of the times over the course of the last few years that you've met with Ms. Clancy, how many times has she told you since the incident that she's heard a voice currently?
She has not heard voices since the event took place in 2023.
And you've now testified that over the course of a period of time that she did hear voices, right?
Yes.
And is that based on one of these 35 hours worth of conversations you had with her? How do you know that?
Well, there were collateral contacts. Spoke to other people. I spoke to other people who I asked the nature of their interactions with Ms. Clancy, and it was not a fishing expedition. I asked them if they can tell me what happened.
Well, I'm asking
but they
you...
disclosed, pardon me?
You have to let them finish.
So they disclosed information to me that Ms. Clancy shared that information with them.
So who did she tell that she had a voice that told her to kill herself?
She spoke to a chaplain named Sheila Kavanaugh, who I spoke with, and Chaplain Kavanaugh told me that Ms. Clancy told her that she heard a male voice instructing her to first kill her children and then to kill herself.
So the same message that she delivered to Patrick that day on the phone, you heard from a chaplain at Brigham and Women's Hospital after the incident occurred in January of 2023?
Yes.
And so from all of the records that you reviewed of her treatment and all of the interviews with her family, who did she tell that she heard voices telling her to kill herself?
I believe she told family members.
Which family members?
I believe she may have said that to her mother. She, I believe, told her husband that she felt like killing herself as well.
In the records with the providers, you're aware, you've reviewed them all and you've sat through all of their testimony. You're aware that when she described intrusive thoughts, she never referred to them as a voice telling her to kill herself, did they? Did she?
No, she was referring to...
It's just a yes or no?
No.
So as far as her reports of these intrusive thoughts that appear over and over in the notes, you would agree that it was simply, when asked about what they were, it was simply that she felt like she wanted to die, right?
Yes, and...
It's just a yes or no?
Yes.
Now, in your report, you go through what's called the sources of information. You're familiar with that part? It's pretty standard in a forensic report, right?
Yes.
Where you list all of the things that you've gone through and reviewed in compiling the information for your report.
So in my sources of information, I reviewed the following, but that list is not limited to the following. So there might be other pieces of information that I may have reviewed, but didn't put in the list.
Okay, so not on the list are the Tewksbury Hospital records that you said you reviewed recently, correct?
Yes, the 7,000 pages of those hospital notes. I didn't review all of them at the time of the report.
Did you review records from the Spalding Rehab Facility?
Yes.
That's not contained, though, in your list, in your report, is it?
I don't think it is.
And you don't cite to any of the Spalding Rehab records in your report coming to your ultimate conclusions, do you?
I do not.
And how about the women and infant records? Did you list that in your sources of information section?
I do not. She was there for one day.
Okay, but you've testified about that, right?
Yes.
Did you review them at all?
Yes.
And as far as the McLean records, you don't list the McLean records as a source of information in your report, do you?
I did not, but I did review them.
Now, you've described, and you describe in your report, that you believe that Ms. Clancy was hypomanic, right?
Yes.
And I believe you testified to some extent, and you've written in your report that you identify her as euphoric, excessively energetic for 3 months postpartum. Do you remember writing that in your report?
Yes.
That you note that she exercised early, right?
Yes.
But you're aware that she exercised pretty frequently before birth.
Yes.
And while pregnant with Callan.
And while post-pregnancy with her children as well, yes.
So it was part of her routine, fair to say, right?
It's part of everyday living. Things sometimes change when you have a baby, and a few weeks later, if you're still doing the same exercise, it's sometimes a reflection of something other than committed to fitness.
And you identify what you refer to as a marketing scam, being that Beachbody business, right?
Yes.
But you're aware that that's a series of workouts and a line of nutritional shakes and exercise plans that millions of people engage in across the country.
Yes.
All right, let's get a break, but first let's head to Los Angeles. Attorney Silva is watching along with us. What's your thought on Zeisel, direct, and now a little bit of the cross?
You know, first of all, Ted, thank you for having me. And, you know, I adore you so much. Look, Ted, here's the thing. I thought that direct was incredibly effective. But I got to give it to the DA, actually. She's actually hitting on what a lot of viewers have also been mentioning when it comes to the hearing the voices, the gaps there. I thought she actually did a really good job. I wrote in my notes too. She wants the jury to think that in the grips of psychosis, someone would be in a vegetative state. And I think she's kind of doing that with her cross-examination questions to the doctor. I kind of wish the doctor was a little bit more emphatic in what he's saying. I just wish a little bit of what he was saying in the direct was coming out in the cross, just when it comes to how he's relating to the jury. But honestly, I think the DA is doing what she needs to do on cross-examination. She's not as, I hate to say, but not as clumsy as she has been with earlier testimony in this trial. She's really hitting on the fact that if she was in this state of psychosis, how come she hasn't heard voices since? How come she was able to give a phone number from memory? And the doctor really needs to clear this up. Hopefully Reddington will do that on redirect, because I think these answers need to be fully explained.
Okay, high marks for Shannon Buckingham. Let's get a break and get you back into the courtroom for more of the cross-examination of Dr. Paul Zeisel right after this.
Would you agree with me that you don't have to see the proverbial unicorn in the corner to your health provider to be suffering from psychosis?
Yes, that's true.
And can you tell us, counsel was asking about the symptomology, psychosis, is that something that just grinds on for day after week after month, or is that something that comes on out of nowhere very quickly?
No, overall. It can be quite episodic.
What does that mean?
It means that an episode can start and stop, and then an interval of time goes by. It could be days, weeks, or months, and then another episode occurs.
That was Dr. Donald Condier, a forensic psychiatrist who testified for the defense yesterday about psychosis. During the state's case, jurors heard from Patrick Clancy, CVS manager, the hostess at the 3V, all saying that Lindsay sounded normal when they spoke to her before she killed her children. Jurors are going to have to decide if they accept that the opinion of the defense experts is correct, that Lindsay Clancy was, in fact, experiencing a postpartum psychotic event during the death of her kids. Dr. Paul Zeisel, currently on cross. Let's go back into the courtroom.
It's just a way of a lifestyle choice.
If you do something for marketing and you lose all your money and there's no effort to get that back, it's a scam.
Yeah. You've asked them, you can kind of figure out what its definition is. So,
did she tell you she lost money with the Beachbody?
Yes.
When was that?
It was summer of 2022 after her third child was born.
No, when did she tell you that she lost money?
I don't recall that.
And is it in your report?
It may be, but I'm not sure.
Well, I have it with me, or do you have it up there? Can you look and point to me where she told you, at what point she told you she lost money in this endeavor?
I don't know where it is. If it's here, it didn't seem relevant whether she lost money in a scam after her child was born, in terms of the big picture of what we're here for today.
You described it as a scam because you said she lost money. So wouldn't it be important to know if she actually lost money?
I don't really think so.
Okay. You also identified the 5-mile race that she completed. Was it a 5-mile race or a 5K race?
Well, I wasn't sure which it was. I was told initially it was a 5-mile race. After my report was submitted, it may have been, with reflection, a 5K race.
And you've sat in the courtroom each and every day of this trial, so you've heard all the testimony about the evidence, right?
Actually, I've not been here every day, but I've been here most days, yes.
You're also aware that prior to the kids being born, that she considered herself a runner.
Yes.
Right? She had a treadmill at her house. She went to the gym and used the treadmill. She ran other races.
Yes.
Now, in your report, you indicate that part of the timeline of her medication and her decline is the September time period where she was prescribed the Zoloft, right?
Yes.
And you indicate that she had reported, and it's reflected in the records, that she increased the Zoloft, and that's when she couldn't sleep for 48 hours straight, right?
Yes.
And you're aware of what the instructions were, having reviewed everything in this case, what the pill bottle said as far as the plan for the Zoloft?
I'm not sure specifically the incremental plan to go from 25 milligrams to 50 milligrams of Zoloft.
Well, I have the bottle, exhibit number 2, sertraline, not Zoloft, right? Brand name Zoloft?
Yes.
Says take 1 oral tablet once a day for 1 week, then increase to 2 tablets daily thereafter.
Right.
Right on the label.
Right. That's 25 milligrams to 50 milligrams.
And again, having been at the majority of this trial, you aware that there were 30 in that prescription and 23 left in the bottle when they were inventoried.
Yes.
And those are pills that were in Patrick Clancy's possession at the time of these events in January, you're aware, right?
Yes, I believe they were in the middle console on the lower part of his truck, the lower part of the middle console in his truck.
So if there's only 7 pills missing from a prescription that requires the person to take a particular dosage for 1 week or 7 days, how did she double the dose?
Well, sometimes when you are given medication, you may have medication of the same exact dosage and the same exact medication another time, and you therefore may have pills that you didn't take the previous month or the month before that, and sometimes people just finish what they've had before and before they go on to the most current dose. So I am aware of what you're referring to, but I don't know if there are other bottles there that she may have had medication still in those pill bottles.
Well, I'm looking at exhibit number 1, a record from CVS Pharmacy, which all of these bottles are from. And the only time a prescription for sertraline is filled is on September 15th, 2022 for 30 pills. You aware of that?
Yes.
So there's no prior prescription for sertraline, is there?
I don't think so.
Now, in your report, you also refer to 1129, and your report on page 8, paragraph 2 says on 1129, Paula Gelada. Is that supposed to be Rebecca Gelada?
Yes.
Okay. So it also says that she prescribed Seroquel to treat Ms. Clancy's anxiety, depressed and unstable mood, and psychotic symptoms of disassociation and derealization. Where is that in Rebecca Gelada's record that that's why she prescribed Seroquel?
I'm not sure.
And in fact, you were present when Ms. Gelada testified and said that she prescribed it at 25 milligrams for insomnia, not for anxiety, depression, unstable mood, or psychotic symptoms. Did she not?
It's used off-label. It's sometimes medications are made for many things. Sometimes they're used off-label, not for what they're prescribed for. So that's a medication that is used for sleeping, although it's an antipsychotic.
But you're aware from reviewing the records and hearing testimony that that initial prescription was for a 25 milligram dose, correct?
Yes.
I know you're not a prescriber, but you're aware that a dose for treatment of bipolar is significantly higher than 25 milligrams.
Yes.
Now, you've described in your testimony in this court repeated auditory hallucinations about wanting to kill herself or that she should kill herself and that she is damaged or her brain is damaged, right?
That's correct.
Now, did you have a conversation with her in one of these 35 hours about that particular voice or thought or belief?
So when I meet with Ms. Clancy, It's not as if I have one conversation on one of the 35 hours. To have thoroughness and exactitude, one does what we call intra-rater reliability. In other words, over the period of time, to confirm what someone says to you to help endorse the veracity or accuracy of that, you'll ask that question in a multitude of different ways. So I don't just ask once, did you hear a voice on that day? I asked in different ways over time, and her answers pretty much remain the same.
So when you quote in your report, when questioned about the nature and content of these horrible thoughts, Ms. Clancy stated, quote, like a really bad and intrusive thought that I didn't feel like it was mine, telling me I should kill myself, your brain is damaged, you're never going to get better, end quote. Where does the quote come from?
Where does the quote come from?
Right.
She had said that to me.
To you, at some point?
Yes.
Okay. And this is well after the incident occurred, correct?
Yes.
And you reviewed all the records to know that she did not endorse that she was hearing a voice to any of her providers between September and January 23rd of 2023.
So when someone...
Yes or no, sir?
That's a difficult question to say yes or no from, because sometimes if someone says something that's inaccurate, it's not an affirmatory or a negative response. That's misleading.
My question.
Prosecutor Shannon Buckingham giving it to Paul Zeisel in terms of the voices that Lindsay Clancy said she heard when she killed her 3 children. Back to the courtroom for more cross right after this.
Duxbury, Massachusetts, a quiet seaside town, was shattered by an unthinkable tragedy. Lindsay Clancy, a young nurse, devoted wife, and mother of 3, was seen as the picture of perfection. But police say behind the smiles and family photos, darkness took hold. On a cold January night, investigators say she strangled her children, Cora, Dawson, and baby Callan. All that before attempting to take her own life. Clancy's husband, Patrick, returned home to a scene of unimaginable horror. Now, the once trusted nurse faces murder charges, as her defense claims she suffered from severe postpartum psychosis. Prosecutors call it calculated. Her attorneys say it's a symptom of a mind lost to illness.
All right, let's head back to the courtroom. In Plymouth, Massachusetts, Shannon Buckingham, the prosecutor, is questioning on cross-examination the lead defense expert, Dr. Paul Zeisel. Let's pick it up right where we left off.
From September to January 23rd or 2022, did she tell any of the providers she saw that she heard a voice telling her to kill herself?
It's not in the records.
Okay. And you're aware that she has spoken to several forensic psychiatrists and psychologists over the course of this case, right? Not just yourself.
Yes, she spoke to 3 retained experts in April 10th and April 12th of 2026. And then on June 12th of 2026, 1,172 days after I initially met with her, then 1,220 days after I met with her. That's the 3rd examiner.
Well, you're aware that you're referring to Dr. Halbrin, Dr. Mack, and Dr. Satoff, correct?
Correct.
But you're aware that she also spoke with Dr. Resnick and Dr. Spinelli well before that.
On May 5th of 2023, approximately 90 days more or less later. Yes.
And you're also aware, sir, that she never told Dr. Resnick in a recorded interview, nor Dr. Halbrin, Dr. Mack, or Dr. Satoff that she heard.
Sustained.
Your testimony is that she told you that she heard this voice. Fair to say she identified to you that it was her own voice that she heard, correct?
That's not correct.
So she told you that she heard a male's voice?
That's correct.
When?
On the night of the incident, January 24th, 2023.
No, I'm referring to the fact that you've now testified that she heard this, as you call it, a persistent what's the word you use? Persecutorial voice over the course of time? Was that your testimony?
So you're referring to the ongoing negative voices or intrusive thoughts that she was hearing,
right?
Where she felt, in fact, other people could hear those voices, thought broadcasting. So there are multiple layers here of hearing intrusive thoughts.
So, but
hearing voices so loud that she believed other people could hear her. Those are two separate phenomena, if you will.
In those voices that you are saying she told you she heard about wanting to die or to kill herself or her brain was damaged prior to January 24th of 2023, did she say it was her own voice she could hear? It was her own thoughts?
She did not identify whose voice it was.
Fair to say the only time she specifically said she heard a male voice was when she recounts the events on January 24th of 2023.
Yes, that's accurate.
And you'd agree that there's a difference between the idea that somebody believes their thoughts would be or could be heard by others and the belief that they are being heard by others, right?
Yes, it's a matter of semantics, and it's a level of degreeism. Believing and knowing, two totally separate things.
And believing, having a fixed belief like that, would be a delusion, right?
That's correct. A delusion is a fixed false belief that is unshakable and not something you get rid of either through your own efforts to tell the voice to go away or other people saying, just, for example, try to stop thinking about it.
And the idea that she believed that something was wrong with her brain, or that if people could know what was happening, that the police might get involved, that is something that could happen if somebody articulates those things, right?
Absolutely. It's common sense.
Now, in your report, you also indicate that, in your testimony, you indicated that on January 5th of 2023, that's when Ms. Clancy was discharged from McLean Hospital, and I think your testimony was that she went in there on Seroquel and I think you indicated Klonopin, correct?
Yes.
And your report says Seroquel and Klonopin. You recall that?
Yes.
You're aware that based on the medication journal that is in evidence that she hadn't taken Klonopin since November 27th of 2022.
She had a prescription for that, and I think she may have taken some, but may not have been on a regular basis.
But you've seen the pages of her journal to know that she's pretty diligent about saying exactly what she took on each particular date.
Yes.
Leading up to her stay at McLean and even after.
Yes.
Now, kind of sticking with these medications for a second, you have testified, I think this was yesterday, you testified that you were familiar that after Dawson's birth that she had sought some medication, correct?
Yes.
And I believe you testified yesterday that she was on trazodone, but in fact, she was prescribed Zoloft after Dawson and reported she did never take it,
That's
right?
correct. So after my testimony, I reviewed that, and I confabulated the trazodone with another medication, the Zoloft.
And again, you've talked a lot about that the medications that she was taking, the different medications, didn't provide her with any sort of relief. So it's important to know the different medications she was taking and what the reactions were, right?
I don't know if I talked a lot about it. I was asked questions. I answered them honestly. They didn't provide relief. I would agree with that. And that was the whole point of her seeking help.
And her history, whether it be medication history, a social history, a family history, those are all important things overall for you to look at and examine when coming to ultimate conclusions, right?
For everyone, yes, of course.
So it's important.
All right, let's slip in a commercial break. We'll have more of the cross-examination between Shannon Buckingham, prosecutor, and Paul Zeisel, doctor. Stay with us.
Cora was into princesses. And,
After the deaths of Cora Dawson and Callan Clancy, the town of Duxbury, Massachusetts came together and built a playground in their memory. Nate Eaton of the East Idaho News posted this about the playground. Hundreds of volunteers, including Patrick Clancy, built it over 4 days. Every detail was designed with the children in mind. A toddler play area for Callan, a purple play structure for Cora, her favorite color, and a firefighter-themed panel for Dawson, who loved first responders. 3 trees were planted in their memory. Angel wings are woven into the shade structures, and families are welcomed by a photo of the 3 children near the entrance. One of the most touching features in the panel is displaying Cora's daily goodbye. Thank you for a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Let's go back into the courtroom now and pick up the cross-examination where we left off. Shannon Buckingham and Paul Zeisel.
Reporting that information.
As much as possible as one can be. Yes, that's true.
And as far as the medication goes, I think you testified yesterday that she also took medication in nursing school, correct?
Yes, she did.
And having met with her as many times as you did and reviewing all these records, you're aware that those were in fact Prozac, Wellbutrin, and Propanol that she took in nursing school.
That's correct. That was for her what's called glossophobia, GOLLOSPHOBIA. It's fear of public speaking. Most common fear for Americans. 85% of Americans have public speaking phobia. Pretty commonplace. But yes, those are the medications she took while she was in nursing school to go through the program.
But that's not what you testified to yesterday.
I think I mentioned only 1 or 2 medications. She had taken 3.
Okay. And you also mentioned today in your testimony, you were asked about the date of December 15th. And I believe your testimony was that's the day she went to Women and Infants.
I believe so, yes.
If I show you the record, is it fair to say she didn't go to Women and Infants on the 15th, but it was actually December 20th?
Right. I believe she went to the Mass General Hospital ER on the 15th.
And you said in your testimony today that at the Mass General ER, she did not get any help. Do you recall that testimony?
She declined admission to the inpatient. She didn't want to do that. So,
you didn't not get help.
So,
go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have something called the subjective baseline, the cognitive appraisal theme. Help is in the eye of the beholder. If she felt she didn't get help, that's how she felt.
Well, sir, that wasn't the question. And your testimony was she went to the ER and did not get help. That was your testimony, not hers.
Well, my testimony is based on my evaluation of her. This is what Ms. Clancy shared with me. Who am I to doubt what she believes or doesn't believe about the offer for treatment or help? It's her opinion.
She chose to decline the bed at McLean on December 15th, did she not?
Yes.
And she then indicated to the Mass General Hospital that she was going to opt for an outpatient program at the Women and Infants, correct?
Yes.
That's what's in the records.
Yes.
And did she tell you that as well?
Yes.
And as it pertains to the Women and Infants, again, after you review the records, you're aware that a referral had been made to her well before her visit to the ER on the 15th for that same program.
I believe so.
Now, you've indicated in your testimony that it's your opinion that her diagnosis is bipolar disorder with psychotic symptoms, correct?
Yes.
And fair to say, you've reviewed, prior to your report, you had reviewed Dr. Resnick's report.
I'm not.
Can I see counsel say that?
All right, sidebar there. Silva Magardician is in Los Angeles. She's a trial attorney. Has been watching along with us today and has been watching along with us for this entire trial. 16 days of testimony here and day 3 of the defense case. This back and forth between Buckingham and Zeisel, what's your assessment now? You gave Buckingham good marks out of the gate. Still believe that?
You know, Ted, look, she's doing what she needs to do. I think we can say she's not the most likable, I would say, in her style, but she's getting her points across. And I think it's very imperative as a district attorney what you're supposed to do, which is try to discredit the expert as much as possible, showing that he made even the smallest of mistakes, misnaming the first name of another doctor or not completely reviewing the records. She's trying to discredit him in front of the jury as best she can. She brought up she's cutting the doctor off numerous times. I kept on writing, let him answer. Because when we cut off the doctor, the judge's first indication is, doctor, finish your answer. And that shows the jury that the DA doesn't want to hear the full answer of what the doctor wants. Because in trials, we want our answer. We want simple yes or no to prove our point. We don't want the explanation to show why we said that. So she's really trying to control the witness. I think the judge is doing a really good job having him complete his statements, but she's doing what she needs to do, Ted. The biggest issues of this case for the prosecution is, was this truly psychosis, or was this just a woman who wanted to kill her kids and kill her life? And if I can't take care of my kids, no one else can. And the suicide wasn't even a real suicide. So this whole case is based on junk science. And I think that is what she's trying to do with the doctor. She's focusing on the weakest points, right? Which is there were no voices after the incident, that she didn't declare that she was hearing voices during her episodes, and that she seemingly was in and out of this episodes, the psychosis per se, like night and day. It was almost like she turned it on or off. So she's doing what she needs to do.
Mm-hmm. And as much as the people think that the Commonwealth was losing badly before the defense case and the experts, they may be working their way back into this. Let's get a break. When we come back, we'll head back to the courtroom, pick it up where we left off. Stay with us.